So we're going to do a bit of an update today, principally around Big Build Apprenticeships, which you're all familiar with now, how we're tracking with the demonstration projects, because we have some impending news about the successful constructor for North East Link project. Maybe you could put in the chat if you've already heard who it is, and we might be able to confirm or deny. The Construction Industry Skill Set Initiative, we're going to talk a little bit to that. We're going to talk to hire apprenticeships as part of the update. We've got a slide in there about the Social Services Initiative, but I wouldn't mind getting a bit of feedback on how we can try and get a bit more out of the construction hire apprenticeship program. The Apprenticeship Growth Strategy, which many people on the call would be familiar with, and even have probably put some applications in on. TAFE Equipment and Facilities Funds for apprentices and trainees. You may be wondering why I'm going to talk to you about that particular program, and it's principally down to the fact that as we're all collectively partnering with TAFEs on our demonstration projects and our Big Build integrated projects, I think it's important for you to know that if there are any equipment capability shortfalls in our partnerships with our primary TAFEs or TAFE consortia, we would like to hear that directly back from you as well, particularly around the demonstration projects being New Footscray Hospital and North East Link. So if you feel that there are issues with the standard of equipment for your employees that we're going to be placing on Big Build, we need to hear that because we might not always hear that from the TAFE. The other thing is too, we thought we might use this as an opportunity to give you just a very quick departmental update as well around what we're doing within DET proper around the Victorian Skills Authority and the Office of TAFE Coordination and Delivery. So just so that everyone's on the same page, there's new structures that were announced in the budget some weeks back. The objective of that is to connect the sector and complement and maximise the benefits of other investments, including free TAFE and what we're doing. I'm talking to this now because I just want to draw a clear line around the fact that Apprenticeships Victoria continues to be an independent entity of the Victorian Skills Authority. So I have had some questions over the last couple of weeks around whether or not we're going to be a sub-element of the Victorian Skills Authority and so on. And I can confirm that we're not going to be, but we will work closely with the VSA as it's stood up. And we'll also be wanting to utilise the industry engagement functions that are being transferred from the Office of the Victorian Skills Commissioner across to the VSA. The other thing of interest to us, and hopefully to you too, is the establishment of the Office of TAFE Coordination and Delivery. So we really see that as a good opportunity to build on the lessons learned out of our demonstration project work and to see a better joined up TAFE system in relation to supporting our major infrastructure activity, and also bring a bit of a leveller to the competition that's existed across the TAFE network since the Skills First reforms. We really want to see more positive connections across TAFE with Big Build around capability and capacity so that we can swap trainers and assessors in and out of our program delivery areas, and happy to talk a bit more about that as we go. Just with the Victorian Skills Authority, you would have seen the announcement in the budget. You might have been involved in various briefing sessions or seen press releases and so on. That's currently being put together now. There's a recruitment process underway for the CEO. That should be resolved in the coming weeks. There's also the establishment of a dedicated advisory board. And excuse me for 2 seconds. The advisory board selection process is currently underway as well. If you've got any questions around the VSA establishment and so on, feel free to put them in the chat or put them to me. If I can't respond to them, I'll put you in touch with the establishment team that's putting that together. It's also important to note that for those that have worked with the Vet Development Centre over the years and AEN, and a lot of the AEN members have been involved in various PD sessions and functions and so on with the VDC. They are coming in under the VSA banner, as well as the industry advisory groups and the administrative staff from the ABSC. Just around the Office of TAFE Coordination Delivery, just to close off on that quickly, it's really created to coordinate TAFE strategy, data collection and sharing and governance. What we want to see out of it is a lot more embracing of the shared services model, making sure that that the learning and assessment materials that we particularly have oversight of and so on is shared more broadly across the network and across skills first providers, which hopefully that'll be well received within this group, particularly around those on the call that have skills first contracts. We really want to be in a position where if we're developing learning and assessment materials, that you have the opportunity to access them as well as the TAFE network. All right, with Big Build Apprenticeships, you've all seen the movies. It's pretty much a trilogy now. You know what the targets are. I won't dwell on this too much, but this is probably just to remind me more than anything that we've still got those 1,500 opportunities that we need to fill. We are working towards our package of support for AEN members around how we can better push this particular program. And I've got some slides coming up where I'll unpack that a little bit, just to give everyone an update. We're just waiting for the Minister to sign off on our proposal around supporting Big Build apprentices across sites as well. And I know Gary's had the opportunity to I guess, peripherally inform people around what's going on in that space. We're just waiting. Once the Minister signs off, I think we'll have a dedicated session, maybe as part of the routine catch-up around how we intend to roll out an enhancement to this program to support AEN and its members. Just with the ELIs, I might go to the ELIs first before I talk about how we're going to work through the distribution side of things. And being mindful that it's the program enhancements currently with the Minister for decision, and it's quite imminent. I'm not going to dwell too much on this. I just want to remind everyone that this pool of EOIs is ever expanding. We're going to be working on some Apprenticeships Victoria ad campaigns and some additional promotional material that we expect to hit the public domain in August and September. We'll work through the AEN and then specifically with members around that content and how we can tie AEN members that have BBA apprentices on site into that. So we'll have separate conversations around that. But this is just to let you know that we've got over 500 in the pool now. The team and I committed to giving you access to the Skills and Jobs Centre kind of interview process for EOI registrants. I think we still need to get that across to you. I might check in with Nick about that later, but if we haven't got that across to you yet, I'll make sure that that does happen because you will probably have appropriate input into some additional information that you would want to be getting out of these registrants. I just want to also let everyone know that these 500 people aren't just sitting in a pool getting a regular email update saying we still want to employ you. We're actually working through a whole bunch of kind of diversionary training processes as well, where a lot of these registrants, are being given the opportunity to do pre-apps, access the construction skill set short courses, so get white card or other high-risk licensing outcomes, and also some are actually suspended apprentices and have been re-employed through the other program that we're working on with AEN in that space, which we've extended. Back a little bit, we're a rather complex slide there. This is the proposed process around EOI registrant distribution, but I think if I was on your side of the fence, I would like to know more about how the support package is going to enable this. So this is a bit of a taster around a more detailed session that I want to facilitate with you once we have the ministerial approval that we need, and once we have the opportunity to announce this enhancement to our work in the big build space. But just stepping through, we're doing some more systems enhancement where registrants are creating profiles now within off the back of our AV website. We want to share that level of detail with you through having a mental break. The mental blank rather. The team can let me know. It's Salesforce platform, I believe. So there's some enhancements in the process that we want you to directly tie into as well, and we'll track registrants by the Salesforce platform, which some of you will be familiar with. As far as referring, ability to work with us around the suitability of candidates and so on, that's all going to be part of this process. You're going to be the employer of registrants that have successfully met our pre-vetting requirements. So you will have the ultimate say around employment, and we will provide you with the placement opportunity that individual will be employed on. Or in the case of existing relationships, you may have already developed that employment opportunity. And I know there's some members on the call already who are starting to place apprentices on New Footscray Hospital, which is a great outcome. And really, we just want to build on that activity. And we'll principally do that through the AEN and then directly with members. Just with the demonstration projects, you know this well, but if this all comes to fruition, we'll be moving pretty quickly on the NELP workforce development profile. I know some members on the call have already had an opportunity to work closely with CPB for the early works program, and really my view is that that's just a taster of the opportunities that will obviously flow through for big build and AEN members in the coming months as we formalise the connectivity centre arrangements. So that's more New Footscray Hospital, but as we formalise our kind of dedicated AV skills and job centre process, we'll share that information with you in the coming weeks. So with big build integration projects, I gave this update to some of you at one of the routine meetings, but this is expanding. So our BBIPs, and I do have to continue to congratulate Jason Muir for his mastery of the acronym. So with our BBIPs, we are fully integrated now into the Frankston Hospital upgrade, and we're linking into the procurement process now for Warrnambool Hospital. I think the build for that, though, is about 2 years off. We're involved in a lot of major road projects now, rail, including suburban rail loop AVs embedding into the early works program there, and there'll be big build apprenticeship opportunities there. Social housing continues to occupy our time, so we're embedded in wave 1, positioning for wave 2. such as Bill Street, Hawthorn. There's various upgrades happening with Chisholm and BKI that are debt-funded projects where we will be providing big build apprenticeship opportunities on that. And we're even working with Parks Victoria and embedded in the St Kilda Pier redevelopment as well. So really, the strategy now is starting to come to fruition for AV around just saturating a lot of these major project skills guarantee opportunities and having AV integrated, and therefore big build and big build integrated projects integrated into these procurement processes so that we have the maximum placement opportunities available to you. Construction Industry Skill Set Initiative. I am hoping to have some positive news around that before the end of the month, being the end of the financial year. It's my hope to be able to extend this program until the end of June 30 next year. I'm not making an announcement about this now, but I think it would be great to have this program continuing, particularly as it can support the big build integration project side of things. So for those that are using this program, we're also looking at expanding the number of high-risk licensing units that can be undertaken by any one individual rather than the one that we initially started with. But we are just waiting for government approval around the extension of that program. But I just wanted to foreshadow that that's our intention, that's what we've asked for. And it is our desire to see construction industry skill sets continue for at least another year. And we would very much like you to continue to utilise that program and also have it in the back of your mind as we're bringing on new apprentices and trainees to support big build so that you are not hit up by various providers for commercial services or fee for service around these courses which are fee neutral. Just with higher apprenticeships, this is the slide around social services. Some of you might have had some interaction with that, but from my perspective, the real focus and what we're seeking to do with Big Build is reboot the construction side of the higher apprenticeships program. So we're doing that now. We've had quite a lot of discussions with North East Link Early Works, CPB and so on around getting higher apprenticeships for construction. We've got Carl on the line as well, who's doing this rebooting for the organisation. So he's really got the subject matter expertise if you've got any questions around higher apprenticeships. But I'm just saying that from my perspective, the social services part of the program is well and truly underway and performing quite well. The construction skill set, the construction higher apprenticeship program is being, from my perspective, re-established. We're seeking to change the qualification that was being used previously, and we're also seeking to have it embedded in more big build apprenticeship activity and have it counted towards the cadet criteria for major project skills guarantee requirement. With the apprenticeship growth strategy, a lot of people on the call know about this, including AEN itself. So we're refreshing the ASO program, and that's well underway. The Women in Trades Innovation Fund is also well underway. We are in the position to actually notify our first batch of successful applicants, and we'll be doing that, I think, it's Thursday today, so I'll commit to doing that early next week. But we've got our first batch of projects signed off by Minister Tierney, and we'll be communicating that from next week. The additional funding for GTOs to support apprenticeships and traineeships will be part of that dedicated announcement that I hope to be able to make in the next week or so. But we definitely do have a vehicle for that additional funding, and I can, I guess, euphemistically speak to that if you've got some questions, but that will be a separate session. Just with the TAFE Equipment Facilities Fund for apprentices and trainees, again, the take-home, I hope, for you on this is that if you've got apprentices and trainees placed with TAFEs or dual sectors, and you've got concerns around the standard of equipment being used, you know, lack of consumables, other issues, please let us know directly rather than through the TAFE. I mean, let the TAFE know as well, obviously, but we do have a funding mechanism through AV to prioritise equipment purchasing, minor capex and so on, to support our activities, principally Big Build, the demonstration projects, and apprenticeship and traineeship activity in general. With the existing programs, just a quick update on this. So quality apprenticeships to drive opportunities in the modern economy. So this is from the 18-19 budget. As you all know, trade papers are well and truly back in, and we are nearing the issuance of our 5,000th trade paper. We've also been working on the updated learning materials side of things, principally for apprenticeships and traineeships. Some of you might have been involved in this, but it's really the output of these programs I want shared across the skills first contract holders that are on the call and AEN members. I want you to be able to have access to the learning assessment resources that we're developing for you know, a lot of the core trade apprenticeship pathways. And independent assessment, quite a few enhancements are occurring there. And also, in a way, coming out of COVID, even though we've had recent circuit breaker activity, where we're really kind of ramping up on the independent assessment program, and we'll have some more announcements about that in the coming weeks, and even some launch activity coming shortly as well. Just with business as usual for AV, we continue to oversee the apprenticeship policy and stakeholder engagement functions around apprenticeship and traineeship programmatic activity. This includes the Commonwealth, Victorian Registration Qualifications Authority, apprenticeship network providers, and the TAFE and training system. And when the Office of TAFE Coordination appears and is created, we'll work closely with them as well. We've obviously extended the retrenched apprentices and trainees program, and we've seen some EOI registrants actually be pushed to that program and out of the EOI program. I think that's a good outcome. Half price car registration, even though we don't get it, still think it's a great thing. And GTO funding continues. Just on the GTO funding agreements, I'm sure you probably wanted me to lead with this. Current funding agreements run through until the 31st of August. We're finishing the calculations required to make the final GTO payments in the coming days. We're entering into new funding agreements with GTOs in the new financial year, and this will be part of our announcements. We're looking for opportunities to align and continue to align funding agreements with government objectives. So this is a hint around us integrating some of the Big Build enhancements, independent assessment support that we're requiring to keep the program going, and then in line with the apprenticeship growth strategy and the women in non-traditional trades piece, really looking for participation of underrepresented groups, including women. Just before I go to questions, just on that last point as well, I can report to the group that I executed a memorandum of understanding with Jobs Victoria this week, and we are putting together a joint program with JV that will result in wage subsidy support, which will be facilitated by Jobs Victoria and Apprenticeships Victoria to help particularly enhance employment opportunities for our underrepresented cohorts. That will principally be targeted towards big build apprenticeships and therefore AEN and its broader membership as well. So we'll probably need to do a session on that program once we're in the position to make some formal announcements. But administratively, the key milestone for us this week is we came to agreement with Jobs Victoria around what we would be doing, and we signed an MOU to that effect. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and open up for questions. And Phil,
thanks,
I can see your hands up. Oh, Gary, you're back. You want to run proceedings?
I'm happy to help facilitate the questions, but apologies, I'm late this morning. I know Phil's got his hands up, so we might jump straight to you, Phil.
Thanks, guys. Cam, how are you? Just you touched on the development of resources and also some assessments for particular occupations. Can you talk a little bit more in detail about that and what it looks like going forward?
Well, I'm going to have a break and throw to Carl, I think, on that one, and then we can talk around methods of distribution for those resources and what trades we're targeting and so on. Or maybe actually, Carl, you can cover off on the trade side of things.
Thanks.
Hi, Phil. So I guess with the learning materials, we're sort of conscious as we work through the independent assessment that we kind of need to match them with updated learning materials for those trades. In addition to the trades we're looking at for independent assessment, it's obviously the two trades that already have an independent assessment through their licensing processes. Electrical and plumbing are ones we're looking at developing or working with Chisholm to develop learning materials for, so that they're up to date and I guess reflect the current practices within industry.
So is it going to be a requirement for everybody to use those resources, or is that just an option?
It's an option. So I guess the intent is that we create something that you want to use, and if that's not what comes out, that wouldn't be our intent. So our intent is certainly to have that engagement and have learning materials that are there, a best practice, sort of really connecting with what industry needs, and therefore that industry will want to use it, and the providers will want to use it, and certainly if you thought otherwise, we'd want you to be sort of involved in that discussion, Phil.
Just a comment, my understanding, and I'm not looking for a response, but my understanding is that's a very slow burn, that project.
There's a lot of qualifications in there, and certainly there'll be a range of learning materials sort of released over the coming sort of 12 months.
Thanks very much.
I'm looking at chat. Hey, Daniel, did you find the press release, or do we need to delete that? While we're waiting.
What was that, sorry?
Just asking Daniel if he found a press release around Spark or whether or not we had to delete that comment. There we go. Delete.
There is a press release, Cam.
Okay. You can put it back up, Daniel. You win the prize.
Just to be safe.
There's got to be more questions.
I know there's a lot that we're working through, Cam, over the next few weeks. I know we've scheduled a member-specific meeting next Thursday, but again, we're probably guided by you and your team if we need to do that every week or every fortnight over the next few weeks, because there's a lot of programs that are going to kick off in July.
I'm thinking fortnightly, to be honest,
Yep.
just so we can, and I think because of the size of some of these programs and their importance, we need to dedicate sessions to programs rather than doing a kind of broader update.
Yeah, we can pick a specific topic for a session. Yep. I think Daniel's got his hand back up. Daniel.
Yeah, hey Cameron, awfully exciting stuff happening. Really just excited for the next 12 months, I suppose, is the general feeling for me. I suppose AI Group have a specific interest in the higher apprenticeship stuff. How do we go about getting involved in that space?
I think that's in train, Daniel. And Carl's probably had the most recent interaction, but I've got a lot of shared history in the Siemens project and the development of the Diploma of Applied Technologies and so on. But I think there's some, and I understand that particular higher apprenticeships now pretty much everywhere nationally. I think, yeah, as I said, Carl's probably had the most AI Group level interaction of late on where that's going. If there's some shared project priorities, I'm not sure if you guys are involved in some of the BAE scoping as well. So that there's a pretty good conduit there. But I might let Carl respond to that a bit more.
And yeah, absolutely. I think AI Group, we've been having discussions around higher apprenticeships and what the sort of next steps are in that area, and we've been having that discussion more broadly as well. As you know, I guess we've Victoria now has had, as Cameron mentioned, the big build higher apprenticeships. We've done the initial sort of social service higher apprenticeships, then taken that into a broader higher apprenticeship for the social service sector, but we're still having conversations really with a number of different organisations about opportunities to sort of continue expanding that model, and really, I guess, again, sort of looking for where that is supported by industry, where there's a need and a willingness to sort of move forward and ahead of what's happening nationally.
Thanks, Carl.
All right. Again, we really appreciate all the work you're doing behind the scenes, Cameron. It's been a busy start to the year. We're about to tick over to a new financial year, so a lot of these programs are going to kick off in the next couple of weeks. So again, we'll be guided by you, but let's work with your team in terms of setting some priorities on particular topics, and then we'll invite the members to participate on more specific issues.
Thanks, Gary. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank my team as well, because they're doing all the really busy work, and I'm just taking the credit for it, which is how it should be. I look forward, Gary, to watching repeat performance, I believe, on Q&A or something tonight, because that's the rumour I'm putting out for why you were late.